All right, hello. I'm Squire Myst of Albion.
Hi, Myst.
Hello. I'm teaching range and distance control. My first time. This is my dry run of the lesson plan I wrote last night, so bear with me. Start off range. What is range?
How far away you are, and how far away
the distance between you and your opponent.
There we go. So your range is the space at which you can hit the other person. All right. Your opponent has a range. Your opponent's range is the distance at which they can hit you. Try to hit you. Okay, grab this one. This is the distance. The amount of space between you and your opponent. This is what you need to be able to play with. So in order to get to there, first you have to learn your range. This is something that you're going to get with time. This is not something that I guess you can like pellet. It's just getting used to knowing when like I'm not going to hit him. I'm not going to hit him. I'm not going to hit him. I'm going to hit him. Like just knowing at what point with your gear you can hit the other person is arguably one of the more important things in combat, period. Like even in regular fighting, know when you can hit the other person is important. So that's the first thing to learn. If you're a beginner, that's the first thing I want you to take away from this, is learn your range. And hold on, I have that written down actually, because again, notes. Yeah, and find the other thing is the distance is you want to find your range and at what range you're comfortable engaging. Like me, I'm a distance fighter. I'm trying to hit you with the last 2 inches of my sword every time. But Boomy, he's a little bored. He gets in here and he'll grind with you. So his distance is much closer than mine. So finding the range at which you can hit and the distance at which you're comfortable hitting and defending yourself. No, I do not want to hold. All right, so yeah, those are the 3 pieces of the equation. Your range, their range, and the distance between you two. So, I guess, pair up and hit each other? I don't know. Do what I was doing like with him. You want to stand at find the spot where you're not hitting them to where you're hitting them. It's going to be a single, doesn't matter. Yeah, you're not fighting, you're just letting the other person hit you. Just stand there, let the other person swing a couple of times, take turns, batting at each other.
Because my class, like, I had a full addendum for, like, if you brought full arms and reds, come over here. I mean, Trevor,
you just swing at me, I'm just not fighting. I'll be a body to get hit, so like, no, just stand, okay, you're just, we'll get to that later, just stand, yeah, you're just finding out which standing point you can hit. Yeah. We'll get to that. That's all later. Right now we're just learning range. This is the base. Yeah. There we go. Yep. Yeah. Right now we're just working on range. Follow me. I'm not doing it right now.
back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the shit.
But that's right where I can't.
Yeah.
You can definitely.
Stop cheating, Cam.
Phone fighting media.
At least, does everyone get the concept of range, of your own range?
Hey guys, play heat.
Is everyone at least getting an understanding of the concept of knowing what your range is? Can and you like in your head draw a circle around you and know that they can't hit you there, or you can't hit them there, but you can't hit them there.
Yes.
So that's all I'm looking for. Just real base information. So the next is learning your opponent's range. And this you do by looking at it. Height, a little bit shorter than me. Arms, right around normal to the proportion of his body. They're not exceptionally long, not exceptionally short. Could be 32 to 34 inch blade. So I'm gonna say that you can't hit me. I'm gonna say you can hit me. So first off, exactly that, eyeball them. Just get a guesstimation. So then in order to fine tune it from there, when you square up to them, is like, so say I have no idea where you're gonna hit me. I'm gonna stand up like right here, throw a shot. I blocked really close to his handle. I can still block that shot, right? Barely touched the pommel, just outside of the range. He didn't hit me, I just caught the sword. So you're gonna wanna get your opponent to hit you, and you're gonna block their shots, and then gauging on where on their blade they contacted you is you're gonna know their range. That's how you're gonna start picking it up. I was here, I blocked really far out on the blade, so I'm out. I'm in a safer location if I'm blocking here versus if I'm blocking here. Because I think it's red, yellow, green for like distance understandings. So that's the next step. So you have your range. I know that I can't hit you here. I know that I can hit you here. And then I know that you can hit me here, but you can't hit me here. So stepping, leaning, that's the next point. So the next thing is manipulating the distance between the two. That's when you're gonna start using stuff like leans, like dips, leaning your body, footwork, that kind of stuff. That's a whole other class. Footwork is a whole other ordeal. That's like, if you're advanced and you get nothing from this class, go take a footwork class. So being able to manipulate the distance between the two and ad-libbing from here, that's all I have written down. So, do you have anything else or you just sort?
Just sort of.
I'll grab someone.
You can pick
It's all
this
on the
up.
board. All right, so when you have alternative pieces of equipment other than just a single sword, your angles change and the distances that you can play around with it change. So before, I could hit her here, like to the body here, but like here, I know I can hit just the board. So instead, when you're actually fighting, when you're not just finding things, you need to start gauging. You know, am I shooting for arms? Arm range is here, body range is here. You know, that's the kind of things you want to play around with in order to trip up their game and maximize your own game. So like, you seemed like a very snipey fighter, get them to occupy your space and then capitalize on them doing that. So yeah, so a lot of dips to be like, okay, you dip in, they think they can shoot, you dip out, they miss, and then you punish them. Whereas like Boomy, they come in, he shoots a shot, he's gonna block it with the board, he's gonna have faster hands than you, he's gonna press in, he's gonna utilize his presence to take advantage of that. He uses closing the distance, whereas she uses I'm sorry, am I getting pronouns right? I don't want to get those wrong. Okay. Whereas she maximizes her distance, where she's just touching with the tips of the blade. So with board, like I was saying, with swords, you know, it's relatively the same when it comes to learning your and your opponent's range. It's more just figuring out that equipment. Like, a lot of people play rounds. Most people know that the outside edge of the round is the same level of vulnerability, whereas like corners, they're different. That thing exists. There's people who use like Dorito shapes. And that's all a matter of experience. You get that from fighting over time, learning this weapon versus learning that one. So I guess start throwing shots. You can like do all the stuff now, yeah. So like, I'm gonna try, in order to learn this range, if we can turn, I'm just gonna try to stay where I'm just getting hit by the 2 inches, because that's my fighting style. Whereas if I was fighting Boomy, I would try to like be dead as fuck. I would want to be in here, trying to utilize my big board and use hand speed and stuff. So it's all about using footwork to manipulate the distance between you and your opponent. So it's range, what you can hit, what they can hit, distance control, fucking with that until you win. Yeah.
So is the game, one person kind of advances and throws a shot, and the other one tries by not really blocking, but just by standing in the right spot to not get hit?
I guess that more depends on your own personal playstyle. Because like me, I want to get touched as little as possible.
Yeah.
Even though I have the board, I'd rather step out and just have you miss than anything.
Yeah.
So that's a more personal preference.
Okay.
So if you're practicing to be able to get that tactile response of, I know I got that block because I felt my board move, then you're gonna want to stand more close. So it's more turning. This was another class idea that I had that I wasn't going to do, but now I have extra time, so I'm going to do it anyway. How to turn practice into training. So you go to your regular practice, and just like this, she was asking what was the game. That's exactly what you want to give yourself. You go to a practice, like me, I don't like just pelling. Like drills, I can't do it. It's too boring. So what I do is I go and I say, all right, I'm going to block 4 shots, fake any direction, and return to the lower hip. That's what I'm doing today. The game, yeah. That's the game you give yourself. So if you can do stuff like that with, I'm going to play.
The game I'm going to play is I'm going to think you can. I'm going to get to where you think you can hit, and then make you not hit.
Exactly. So if you can.
And your game is going to be barely hitting.
Yeah.
And actually hitting.
Yeah.
And then we're going to switch.
Pretty much. It's not a whole lot. Questions? Yeah, questions. Anyone has those, I will answer them to the best of my ability.
So this is about finding your own range and things like that. How would you go about, so aside from like just basic footwork, dips and dives and stuff like that, how would I think about like the most common ways you think to manage your range so that your opponent isn't going where you don't want them to go? How do I use my range to force my opponent where I want them to be?
That, in my opinion, is done with fakes, either through level changes, body, arm movements. So, like, if I want to shoot over here, if I want to shoot over here, just the tip, I want to get you to move over here. So I'm gonna like do this. So you're like here, fakes, fades, and baits. There we go, fakes and shit.
Second question.
Yeah.
When I think about range, like body target zones matter. I know you mentioned the red, green, and yellow zone earlier. So like if I had basic sword, if this was a single blue or whatever, if my body is currently at this green zone for your sword, you can't hit me.
Yeah.
But like
I have to be doing some deep stuff too.
Is at that yellow zone.
Yeah. I can hit that.
How much does that change the fight in your opinion?
That I think that, are you talking about when it goes to engaging or be engaged upon?
Either.
Okay, so when you're shooting shots, you have to know what you're, I don't want to say you have to know what you're going for. Like, if you're standing at a range where I know I'm not going to hit your body, I'm not just going to throw a hip wrap. It's going to whiff, I'm going to be left open, I have to do something, I have to defend myself some way, it's nothing there. So I know at a certain range, I'd have to shoot into your hand. So I guess it's more a matter of combat computing, just learning when to do what, when to use what skills. So if someone's coming in on me, and if I'm standing at a safe range, and someone takes a deep lunge, I know they're stepping to a range where my body's in danger, so I have to shell up to defend my body. But if I see them just take a little step, I know it's just my arm, so I can just turn the wrist. I can just step out a little bit. There's different ways to deal with the problem of advancement. And then when it comes to you progressing forward, that's like I said before, it's footwork, it's knowing how to manipulate the other person with fakes, feints. I don't know if that helps your question, but it's the answer that I have.
I appreciate that.
If I am a new fighter who has just a general understanding of range, as in I know where I can hit somebody, I know where I cannot, how would I improve trying out different ranges? Like if I know I kind of like to fight here, like if I'm starting out, I know I kind of like to fight where I can't get hit, how would I try getting more comfortable in those different ranges?
Fucking around and finding out. Just getting in there, you're gonna die. We're not on the field of battle with live steel. You're gonna get hit with a piece of foam, you're gonna walk back to respawn, you're gonna try again. Find a problem, throw your head at it over and over and over again. You go to practice, there's that one dude who's just like, haha, hip wrap, gotcha bitch, and that's just what he does all day. Throw yourself at that problem until you figure it out. You know, okay, I didn't put my hand low enough, I got hit in the arm again. Didn't put the hand low enough, got hit in the wrist. Okay, I'm starting to catch it onto the hand. I started to hatch the hand block, but now he's doing something else. So, with finding your engagement range, go in, get in really close. If you feel comfortable blocking out those shots, start throwing shots in return. If you don't, it's not for you. Most people, I say, start yelling. Start in the middle where they can just hit you with the 6 inches and the top 5 to 6 inches, whatever. And then when they go to swing at you, you're gonna have a natural reaction. Am I gonna step back or am I gonna step into it?
Now, what are the colors representing? I know you guys talked about red, green, and yellow. What does that mean?
Green is like I can throw an opener on you, and your shot back isn't gonna hit me because of it's just a less probability of response. Whereas like here, if I throw a shot, and more like, and then you know from here, I have to do a lot more. It's just closest. Like red, this is really red. This is yellow. This is green, and then I'm not engaging him in combat right now.
Okay.
Let's play a game real quick, practicing with those terminologies and things. So you two fight, and you're gonna fiddle around and play different ranges. Actually, do you want me to fight?
Yeah, someone else fight.
Okay, so we're gonna be fighting for a little bit, and we're just gonna be fighting. Everybody else is gonna be watching, and you're gonna yell when we change range. Yeah?
Teach, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay?
That's right.
Yeah, I have a master's in education. Okay. So we're just gonna fight, and everybody else holler when we're in ranges. So we're currently in a range, so you'd be saying something.
So green versus yellow now.
Yellow, green, yellow, red, red. Yeah.
Ah!
Yellow.
Sorry, Fred.
Green, blue, green.
Green, yellow,
Yellow, red.
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 So, ranges, yeah? We're gonna do something a bit different now. Let me borrow your shield tower.
Sure.
Over here with Zaya.
All the red.
Very red.
They know that's a shit.
Nice out at yellow.
When are shots being thrown?
Yellow and red.
Okay, I'm gonna do something different again.
Pick up the red, first do it. Pick up the red, first do it. Alright. This is all green currently.
Yellow.
This is yellow.
Red. Yellow.
This is more yellow.
When are shots being thrown?
Green to yellow.
Green and yellow because you have a smaller shield.
Think bigger. With both sides, what is one thing I can say where shots are being thrown? When the range changes. Anyway, that's the moral of the story.
Okay.
Yay! Because I heard yellow pop, green pop. I heard a new color, and through.
So to go off of that, based on y'all's question, do that. Play those games up here when you just go to practice. Just take note of when are people throwing shots at me. When am I having the highest chance of blocking? When am I blocking the most? Where are my shots landing the most? Where am I just getting stumped out hard? And you know, lean into what you're good, throw away what you don't. Be like water. Thank you, that was awesome. I'm gonna pick your brain about teaching stuff because I don't know how to do this.
Games.
I also have a suggestion going along with similar games. Something that I really like to do as a similar like far distance fighter, right? Trying to use those last 2 inches of my weapon is also seeing how close I can be to someone's weapon and just narrowly getting myself out of the way.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. Yeah, I was at Keep and I got Dustin to just garb.
Yep.
You can force a garb call, that is just so much serotonin. Oh, it feels so good.
And especially when like they think they're in range and I do the big move and they miss by an inch.
That's a fun partner game. We should play that. We should play you only win when you hit guard. Well, you only win when your opponent hits guard.
I'll make it easy.
Let's play that right now.
There y'all go.
Let's
It's easy.
No, yeah,
It's
we're gonna
super
play.
easy for y'all
You
now.
win when your opponent hits guard. Yeah?
What else you got, Miss?
Green and like green. Like dark. I like
Yeah, or skinny. Guard or skinny because of range.
All right, so as far as like the formal lesson plan, that's all I've got. We're gonna go into like, until Boomy says my class lot's over, we're just gonna do fun stuff the teacher advises that we do.
There are other teachers here.
The teaching teacher as opposed to the information of the class. The MC, there we go, the teacher versus the MC. Ha. I'm gonna shut up now.
We'll go ahead and close it if you guys want to do more stuff, and then we'll go on to the next class.
Yeah. I'm also here for any questions on anything fighting related. I'll do my best to help you. If you're a beginner, go to practice and figure out what your range is and where you're comfortable engaging. If you're past that and you know that, get comfortable at quickly learning your opponent's range. If you can get what their range is in less than 5 shots, you're where you need to be. That's perfect. Because like in tournament fighting, most couple shots are all range getters anyway. So if you can use those to your advantage and get your range in 5 shots, you're gonna be phenomenal in the future. If you're past that, that's when you start playing with getting like finding where you're comfortable engaging, where you're not comfortable engaging, and if you're past that, go to a footwork class, because that's where you're going to learn to manipulate the range in which you're engaging at. And that is officially all I have.